Hey folks, and welcome to Greg's Golf Shack. Everybody wants to crush their driver. We just want to bomb that thing long and far, hopefully straight, and have a little short approach into the green. But how do we do it? I've got two key elements here that will help you crush your driver, feel more confident out on the course. Now folks, whether I'm helping you with the driver or irons or course management, I've got lots of tips on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like the video, leave me a comment. I'm a certified instructor with the Canadian Golf Teachers Federation. I want to help you improve your game and have more fun out on the course. Now, tip number one is our setup. Now, we often hear that it's good to have the ball up in the stance, just inside our lead foot a little bit. Now, the problem a lot of people have is they push their hands way forward like this. The driver isn't an iron. We don't want to be hitting down on the ball and be de-lofting the club like that. We want the loft. In fact, for a lot of amateur average golfers, you probably should be using a higher lofted driver, like a 10.5 degree, 11 degree. The higher we can get it up in the air, the more opportunity it has to travel further. So with the ball in that setup position, just inside our front foot, we don't want to put the hands forward. We'd like to tilt our shoulders a little bit. Now, if I keep my setup position here in the middle of my stance and I tilt my shoulders, notice how the club comes forward like this. That's a good setup position. So we want the club head forward towards the ball, our hands forward towards the ball, our shoulders tilted, and we want to rotate around that axis. Now, the reason this is important is because we want to hit up on the ball with the driver. We want to send it up and out into the air. We don't want to be trapping the ball like an iron to generate spin and all these kind of things. We want to launch this thing. So we want to provide that launching pad to help it go up in the air. So a driver is a little bit different, where the bottom of the arc for the driver is actually before the ball and the club is already coming up into the ball, as opposed to a lot of our other clubs where we might want the bottom of the arc through impact, like on fairway woods, or the bottom of the arc towards beyond the ball for irons and things. So with that tilt and our arms and hands, the club going forward as a result of that tilt, we should be in a good position to launch that ball up into the air. Let's give it a try. All right, 258 carry. For me, that's actually pretty good. That's above my average, really. Not too bad. We got some good height out of it as well. So if you generally use a shorter tee because you've been hitting the driver in the middle of your stance like this, you might find you need a little bit of a higher tee to be able to hit up into the ball in the middle of the face. Now, the second key to bombing our driver and making use of that good setup position is our rotation. A lot of us want to muscle this ball down the fairway, and we try to push the ball rather than sling the club. So to refer to a couple other sports here, think of, shot put as opposed to, discus. A shot put, someone's got this heavy weight and they're throwing it kind of vertically down the line like this. Whereas discus, you see somebody really generating a lot of speed through their spin to release that disc down the game field. It's similar for driving. We don't want to push the ball down the fairway. We want to sling it. We want to almost feel like we're spinning in our setup, almost like we're throwing a discus. We want to spin into that ball and spin around our axis so the club will release and it'll generate speed. Centrifugal force will launch that ball and that club will generate a lot of power that way. And another way to make this work is to think of this as tennis, a backhand in tennis rather than a slap shot in hockey. Slap shot in hockey is very right side dominant. Again, we're kind of pushing that ball. We're holding that face open a little bit. Whereas tennis, we're using our lead arm to backhand that shot. we're backhanding it. And that's what we want with the driver. We want to spin like in discus, and we want to backhand our lead arm through impact while launching that ball up into the air. I mean, think of our general setup position in golf. We're standing perpendicular to our target. It's to the side of us. So it's very hard for us to feel like we want to push something straight down the fairway. Instead, we want to hit it into the side. We want to hit behind this ball from what feels like a side angle and backhand it down that fairway. Let's give it a try and see if we can put those two elements together. A nice setup with tilt and a nice rotation, like we're spinning throughout our swing to launch that ball up and out into the fairway. All right, got a little bit more out of that one. 260 carry, 275 total. Again, for me, that's good. I wish I could do that every time. You might be hitting it farther, but see what you can do if you apply these tips. So there you have it. Crushed a few drives there. Those are some basic sort of elements, setup position, rotation, that you should be able to apply to your golf game. Remember, the driver is a bit different than your other clubs, but the main aspect is just our setup and where the bottom of the arc is. We don't need to make it too complicated. I hope you start bombing your driver. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Greg's Golf Shack.